Hey YouTube, welcome back to Love for Crypto. So in this video we're going to be talking about a bit of a latest development from an article from A and B Crypto. It's definitely worth bringing to your attention, to say the least. So as you can see by the title, Ripple and XRP would develop explosively in the future, says Japanese lawmaker and ex-banker. Now A and B is a decent media outlet for crypto news. I actually quite rate them. I think they do good articles, try and stay level grounded, which is a very hard thing to do. Sorry about all these pop-ups, but within the article nonetheless, there's actually quotations from the person in question. I believe it's a significant role in the Japanese political arena is a good way of putting it. Obviously Japan's not my native country, so I'm not too sure how legislation is carried out and what process is attached to passing laws. But we'll go into some of the comments that he said. So we stated here, the latest cryptographic asset related technology has come so far. If we do not get involved in such advanced fields, Japan will be lagging. Saying, Japan's technology is amazing and Japan celebrating cash settlements is going to be left in the world more and more. He's then obviously continued to say, if the use of XRP is representative of the use of cryptographic currency, then from this map it turns out there is a possibility that cryptographic currency will develop explosively in the future. Now bear in mind, obviously, as you can see at the title here, Ripple and XRP will develop explosively. This is the quote directly from this Japanese lawmaker and ex-banker. And I'm sure there's probably been open table discussions within the banking consortiums in Japan. You just need to remember, obviously, SBI are major stakeholders in the Ripple network. I reiterate this point so much because I do believe the initial catalyst is going to come from this region and probably from this consortium of banks. But you just need to remember there's 80% of Japan's banking network that's actually using a distributed ledger technology system, which is obviously Ripple and X-Current. And obviously, he's basically emphasising on a point, cryptographic assets, it's really being looked at seriously in the world now, as it should be doing, because as you can see, with the rapid developments with Ripple themselves and the actual potential from the technology itself, it is only a matter of time until the dominoes do start falling. But if we go further down here, it does say, moreover, Fujimaki mentioned how Bill Gates' Foundation Media Loop, a software that uses Ripple's interledger protocol, was deployed in Kenya January 2018. Now, again, there'll be naysayers, people stood on the fence, doubters, saying that nothing, all this great news, nothing's happening, they're not using the coin. But as you can see here, Bill Gates Foundation is absolutely massive. Media Loop's a project. Bear in mind, Bill Gates has come round and has stated, by 2030, poverty will be eradicated from the planet with this technology. And as you can see, it is with the interledger protocol. I'd like to think the following base by now fully understands this technology itself, interledger protocol. And just to see how massive things are, and now we're hearing the Japanese lawmakers, who's a previous ex-banker. I'm sure he's got ties within the Japanese banking industry, and he's got a sense of understanding of exactly what this technology is doing, which is what we're trying to educate the people, because there really isn't a lot of information out there. And then obviously further down here, although this wasn't the lawmaker, just a suggested user. Now the Japanese have the highest degree of understanding and expectation for Ripple and XRP. Speaking of cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrency, there are a lot of Japanese who believe that there will come a time when it is said to be XRP. It is time when it is taken up by NHK News. The recognition is raised at once. Perhaps at this time it would be more than 1,000 yen. And this figure, if you want to convert that into United States dollar, is around the $10 price range. So as you can see, the iteration of this video here is to say, we've got Japanese lawmakers. It is a representative. If you just bear with me while I find it. I mean, there's just like another quotation here as well that is actually tweeted, referring to the XRP network topology map. Fujimaki mentioned how the XRP nodes are spread throughout the world and raised a concern that technology is advancing rapidly and that Japan should get involved in it as soon as possible. And we don't need to elaborate on Japanese role, especially SBI holding the consortium of the banks, the network that are using Ripple. So yeah, I've just got the information up in front of me on my phone. He's a figure out of the Japanese House of Representatives. Again, I'm not too familiar with the setup in governance in Japan. It's not really an area that I've looked to research into. I'm sure Cryptotag from Japan would probably be the better person to go and communicate with there. But again, it's the same cause. You know, we heard Ryan Zagone, Capitol Hill, come out with pretty much a similar message to Congress of an urgency to act now, because you know the technology is not waiting for no nation in particular. Obviously, we were speaking about SBI yesterday, not yesterday, in my previous video with DM Logic. I actually got finished watching his return video, which was another nice watch. I just want to say there was a lot of hate aimed at DM Logics after my video, and for anyone watching this who is contributing in that sort of activity, you know, we don't approve of it on this channel. You know, it was meant to have been a healthy debate, and you know, people have used the platform as a stage to promote hate speech. So I've apologised to DM Logic on Twitter for that. Although I didn't do anything wrong, you know, I was just basically opening out an open debate for talk, and it's just unfortunately gone the wrong way, but nonetheless. So yeah, so that you know, what I'm basically saying is here, you know, we've got Japan, we've got lawmakers, people in the banks and that, they're talking about the adoption of the technology. We know that it's coming, and you know, it's just nice to see things starting to move very swiftly. I think there was a tweet from Cryptotag the other day from a congressman from over in the States, and about basically with the bill, you know, as a sense of urgency to get that refiled, which I think is coming. But, you know, we've got to look forward to, you know, Yoshi said he'd like to have things up and running, open order books on the VC exchange, you know, in the Japanese financial year, which is the end of March. Obviously, it's going to need the green light from the FSA. And I think once we've got that platform, obviously I'm not saying on the 30th of March, you know, we're going to see an absolute rocket to the moon to $10 straight away, but it just opens the gateway, it opens the door, it allows that user interface with, you know, on the retail exchange, so to speak. And obviously, if SBI are going to be using this with R3 and Corda Settler, extensively using XRP to move money and value around the world, then why wouldn't the Japanese people openly go and invest, you know, some money into this? You know, that's what we're all here for investment opportunities, and it just makes absolutely perfect sense. I think once the FSA can approve that safety, that regulatory sort of environment over in Japan, the banks get the green light, Yoshi and the SBI consortium bank of groups, and then enabled to use XRP with the R3 settler Corda system. You're going to see an entire nation basically running, utilising XRP where it is cheapest and possible to do so, and it really does account to pretty much every cross-border transaction. You know, it could be more effective to settle through its current, it'll do so if that is the case, you know, maybe if it's a high volume corridor. But, you know, you just got to think about all these other exotic emerging market currencies, you know, Turkish lira, the Argentina peso. You know, they're all falling remarkably sharp with the currency devaluations. And as the banks in SBI, the consortium, are looking to move money into these nations, if they are able to use XRP, then they can obviously obtain that Nostro capital and reconciliate it back into, obviously, you know, their group of network of banks. They could potentially even contribute some to the liquidity of this system to enable the payments. You know, that's just all speculation at my end in regards of, you know, maybe some of the Nostro capital coming back and then going into the ecosystem to support that liquidity, because you need to remember at these values, you know, 35, 36 cents, you're only going to be beneficial with high volume, low value payments, remittance costs and stuff like that. But, you know, if you're talking about banking networks, tier 2, tier 3 banks, financial institutions looking to move money, then obviously we need a deeper pool of liquidity and a stronger value to do so. And maybe SBI opening the order books for the VC exchange may open access to the millions of customers that they do like to talk about, giving them the access and the custodian sort of service in order for them to invest that money legally and in a regulated market. So there's a lot to look forward to. I believe we were seeing $10 end of year. This was all based, all our prediction of the $10, the fundamental reasoning and analysis behind it is to do with the Japanese network. It's to do with everything coming from the SBI, bearing in mind they hold 10.5% share of Ripple. There's an undisclosed figure of XRP, but there's a lot of talk of it being between the region of 7 to 8 billion XRP. So for them as well, they've got every incentive to make this move. They've got every incentive to be front leaders of this pack. And I think it's SBI that made the move with Ripple initially, and I think it's going to be SBI that's going to initially make the move. When we're talking about a broader usage of the XRP not being used just as a speculative asset. So yeah, that's my understanding with Japan now. I hope I'll give you a little run through of it. It's going to be a shorter video, obviously, in that regards. Just another little thing. DX Exchange went live today. They're basically offering, obviously, your fiat pairings against your crypto. So you've got XRP as a base pair against BTC, Ethereum, US dollar, maybe not US dollar, euro, a couple of currencies. I'd have to look. I've not really looked into it. I just know about the launch and its services it's offering. But on top of that, it's also offering access in and out of certain tech stocks. Again, I don't know the list. I've seen a couple of them, your Googles, Amazons, I think Tesla. There's a couple of technology stocks that are on there. I think got 7 or 8 of them. But you've now got access to them, via crypto trading. So, for example, if you've got some XRP, you got to maybe put a small percentage into a stock, you maybe think it's going to rise, then obviously you can go to this exchange, you can transfer it straight into US dollars, straight into the stock, and you've got a 1-to-1 ratio holding on the exchange. I think they charge €10. I think it's really a massive thing, because we're talking about the tokenization of the economy coming now. We've got tokenized stocks now on the DX exchange. I genuinely just think it's revolutionary. You're going to see the housing market on there. We've got talks obviously about the petrol dollar being minted into a tokenized digital, and that's also going to be interfacing with the XRP ledger. I mean, that's another video on its own. Actually, I'm definitely going to make that video with the tokenization of obviously the energy sector with oils and petrols, and So yeah, this is revolutionary on its own, and you've now got the access to go and go and invest in the stock market if you want. There's no hold bars, no going through brokerage firms, no signing up to contracts for different platforms. For example, you're trading 212 plus 500s, which is basically a margin account anyway. It's spread betting. If you want to go long on Facebook, it's only going to go down a certain amount until you liquidate it out of your position. The exchange offering a 1-to-1 ratio, hold or sell. Which is perfect. It could lose 5% of its value, let's say, realistically. You get stopped out of your trade if you're using a contract for difference. On DX Exchange, you've still obviously got your value in your investment, and it could go up 20%, whereas you would have lost out on this contracts for difference platform. And I think it's just excellent how we've got this opportunity now without having to go through brokerages, without paying stupid extortionate fees and holding fees, and then when you do cash out, a percentage fee goes to the brokerage company. It's really is the distribution of accessibility, open. It's an amazing thing. It really is an amazing thing, and I think it's going to cotton on really well. And I'd like to see in the future actually seeing actual digital asset base pairs direct to the stocks. At the moment you've got to go through XRP into the USD tokenized version onto obviously the stock you're buying. But it would be nice, and I think eventually moving further down into the future as these large pools of liquidity start building up, for example, XRP, even your Bitcoin, they could basically be pegged directly to the stock itself. And I think that's basically the roadmap we're going down. We're living it all in slow motion, unfortunately. But sometimes you just sit back and embrace exactly what is happening, and be very thankful that you're at this evolutional process in life, because there's a lot of advantage to be taken during this transition that we're going to go. The biggest wealth transfer on the planet. You just need to be hedged right in the right places. So I'm going to cut the video short of that. It was only just a little update one. I definitely thought it was worth speaking about. When you're hearing of politicians, ex-bankers speaking as highly as they are, House of Representatives for Japan, it's a significant figure that's speaking openly, publicly, and honestly about XRP as a digital asset. You've seen a lot of FUD last year. That was just being all masked to force resale at the market. I stand by that. I think it was manipulation at its greatest scheme to flush them out, and they've done so. They've done very well. Obviously, look at the prices. You could call it fair value. It probably is fair value where we're at the moment. But obviously that surge up to $3.80 for XRP, it was never gonna sustain that growth. If only I knew that at the time, and I could have fucking shorted the back out of it, but I couldn't. But I've learned and I've come a long way with it, and I'd like to think that we're educating the community, bringing them and keeping them up to date with the insights, and basically just giving you the material that you need to make educated guesses on your own. So yeah, I'm just going to finish the video at that. Cheers.